Well, I have previous experience in the delivery of social housing. During the 2010s, when I was leader of South Norfolk Council, we consistently delivered 1% of the entire national affordable housing in England each and every year. My council built more homes to rent than the rest of Norfolk put together. Every home lost to the right to buy was replaced, and then some. After nearly 20 years as the council leader, the number of affordable houses in South Norfolk went up from 4,188 to over 7,000. I say to the noble lady Baroness Gill, the amount of social housing isn't a finite resource. It can be built, and we had an ambitious plan that could be delivered through the development proceeds from a position of negotiating strength. And of course, the Planning and Infrastructure Bill and Community Empowerment Bills have weakened that power. When I was leader of the council, I held all the cards. Now those cards are held by developers on undeliverable housing targets under the 5-year land supply. So the government has made its task harder, and the irony is that this bill has never been more needed, not since the private rented sector has been decimated by the Renters' Rights Act, which is turbocharged rents to new highs. Who knew? That said, I do welcome the measures for the 35-year lockout for new homes on right to buy, and the probability that brand new homes could be acquired under right to buy has chilled new investment and has spawned no end of avoidance structures from within local authorities, and that's diverting. So it's a shame in some respects that the right to buy will be diluted. It should be stated clearly and loudly that the ability to buy your own home has been one of the most empowering success stories of the last 40 years. Done right, as I did as leader of the council, a social home that is bought houses two families. The family that bought the house and another one in the new house that replaces it. Now, I have my concerns that the bill will prevent, and it plays to the point made by the noble Lord Cameron, that will prevent receipts in one authority being applied to a neighbouring one, even if they are in the same housing market area. Now, when my neighbour Norwich City Council couldn't build houses or spend the receipts, they lent the money to us, and we built some affordable houses within a mile of the city boundary. Now, my reading of the bill is that this desirable behaviour will be banned, and that's crazy. Which leads me to the subject of locality. Now, I understand this is a limited scope bill, but protecting the stock can't just be a national numbers game. Housing is more local than that, and that's not what is envisaged as I read the bill. There are general freedoms for social providers to recycle funds, not within a specific area, but across their entire estate. Now, as part of my ward work, last month I was surprised that a home in Brook in my ward, where I live, was under the management of Victory Housing, was actually managed from Gloucester. So the freedom to move receipts within the RSL from Norfolk to Gloucester without challenge doesn't help local people at all. And unless we protect the stock in local markets, a large provider may focus on where it's cheaper, not where it's needed. So this is different, the RSLs to the councils. Now, I was grateful to the noble lady, the Minister, for the drop-in before the recess, where she explained it's very difficult to define territories. But from one ex-council leader to another, I say she must know that's incorrect. We both developed local plans based on housing market areas. They're defined, they exist. It's just not the case that area management is not part of this bill. The principle of locality is established. There are welcome carve-outs for national parks. I just wish they'd go further on national landscapes. At committee, I will seek to probe how receipts can be recycled locally by default before being snaffled by the centre. Now, none of this would be necessary had social housing providers not become so large, and the scale has not been good for the tenants. It's led to a lack of local accountability. National RSLs populating their boards with the great and the good, acting as pound shop developers on the government dime. It's seen tenant reps excised from the landscape. And the consequence is that the focus on local matters, like antisocial behaviour, has been dropped, as I know from my own ward casework. This bill could have been stronger on antisocial behaviour to demonstrate they're a government that's on the side of the law-abiding resident. But it isn't. And candidly, there's been far too great a focus on development that's led to a loss of the social purpose by these RSLs of providing social homes. RSLs can't even sell houses they developed initially for the private market to be used for social use, and that's wrong. And instead, one of the effects of the liberalisation of certain financial powers in this bill may be to drive financial engineering to new heights. Because the truth is that as RSLs have become over-leveraged, they've been caught out by the increase in build costs, by finance and land costs, and now, quite simply, there's no space for the social purpose for these organisations. And that's an omission this bill should correct, but doesn't. I'm disappointed that the bill purports to protect the supply of new homes, but fails to consider the texture of protecting certain types of adapted homes. Now, I spent about £3 million a year adapting homes for an ageing population. In some cases, it might have been a grab rail or a ramp. In one case, a £75,000 extension was required. Now, when, as so often happens, the tenant passes away and the home is re-advertised, no credit can be given for those adaptations. So the new tenant can ask for them to be removed, and they do. It's crazy. It's a waste of money. It reduces the pool of adapted homes. It's bad for everybody, especially the taxpayer, who has to pay twice. Wants to put the adaptation in, and again to take it out again. So where are the provisions in this bill to protect the supply of adapted homes for the ageing population? I've heard it said that this is an allocations issue and we're not going there. And I say, well, why not? Because as I warm to my allocations theme, where are the protections of veterans? Where's the assertion that those with local needs should be prioritised? Where's the preference for the indigenous population? Where are protections for the local needs affordable housing? In our villages, small developments in places like Bergapton, where local people actually campaigned for, not against. And where are the stronger fiscal incentives for people to downsize from the family home as they age? Look, this bill is deficient, that it doesn't even look at the totality of the supply and certainly fails on the demand side. Partial supply without looking at the demand is no solution at all. So, my lords, this bill is incomplete. It only looks at the home, but not really the people who live in it. It does half the job, and at committee we will attempt to make it whole.